So just checking on what other tips you can give me. So it's another audit. I've optimized using Surfer. I'm in the green on page speed insights. Keep on blogging. Been publishing every 3 days for 2 years. Building links. Use SEO audits like Sitebulb, even Quora to optimize as much as I can. Still super unoptimized. Competitors destroy me in the rankings. Just don't know what else to do. Any idea on what I'm overlooking?
I don't see anything that references backlinking in
Well,
there.
this site's actually in our MLB,
Oh, he gave it to us.
and
Okay,
we've
nice.
actually audited this site for him as well.
Oh, I know this site.
We got a picture up, and then I'm actually gonna excuse myself for just a second, and I'll let you kind of. I mean, things are looking up, um, but so I think what he's mainly worried about here are his like main money keywords. So
Yeah,
maybe the stuff that's going up is just more like informational, kind of like blog content that's ranking, and not the.
it's about to hit all-time high in organic keywords.
But yeah, I think it's like his.
Get up to
You know,
it.
so he's a local service, provides a local
Yeah.
service, and I think those keywords aren't doing so well, but everything else looks like it's running up very nicely. But I'll be right back.
Okay. Yeah, and so if we're looking at local sites, we've got to take a bit of a different approach, which isn't always just about muscling up like you might do with a affiliate or a national, or, any national or international ranking website. And so a lot of that has to do with getting some local relevance, making sure that your GMB is getting some love as well. And really competing at the local level with a lot of people, that are doing well in it. You'd be surprised whenever you're messing with local, how much something like a niche relevant guest, or sorry, blog post or blog comment on a post can get you. Some of these small, obscure sites that aren't very powerful but are very active in a certain community will help you inject that relevance into what you're doing. But ultimately, I guess I can look up some competitors in here. Mm, let's try this one. So I'm going to pull up a random competitor. I guess it's, according to Ahrefs, your second biggest competitor. Um, but it's similar to you in that it's branded with somebody's name. So there's less tying into the niche.
Sorry, just got back. So where are you on this?
I'm just looking at one of his competitors here. I'll pass it over to you, or well, just pick any of
Oop,
them really.
I've got the text on the screen too. Sorry about that, guys.
But basically, I was just talking about how, focusing on your GMB, getting niche relevant links as well, even if that's just like blog comments on very lower end or like not so strong sites that are very niche relevant, have been putting up content for a long time, can go a long way to adjusting that relevance as
I
well.
think we're
But
also fixing his anchor profile a bit, if I remember right. Can't remember exactly at
pull it
this
back out.
moment.
Oop.
Yeah, because he actually has a pretty good amount of exact match. They're not just the same exact match, but it's a lot of exact match.
Oh yeah.
So we are in the process of trying to clean that up. So he might be kind of over optimized for some of the local keywords. Um,
Let me go back to competitors. And then another thing, let me see. So I see you've got a good news section where you're putting up essentially clients that you've worked with, I reckon. This might also be a good place to inject some geographic relevance through titles, etc. And then furthermore, I haven't looked through too. Oh yeah, there it is. No, interlinking looks good.
So he's the niche he's in is photography. I will say I like his photos.
Yeah, it's nice. The whole site is really nice. I don't see any issue with the site itself.
Yeah, he was very over optimized for at least I didn't really look at many pages, but I looked at his homepage, which is trying to rank his main keyword on, and he was way, way, way over optimized on it compared to the top ranking competitors. Like using, like service and then the name, town name right next to it, and had that like 20 times in the article or something. Which is like very unnatural because you don't even write that in writing, like maybe on like an H1 or something, but it's very hard to have that in a sentence. And they had it like a bunch of times in the article, and like the top ranking competitor had it 0 times on their ranking page. So yeah, but how long would you
If you're
say
watching,
as far as
can you send over like the main competitor you're talking about so we can look over
I can
their site? I'm guessing you're
I
talking
can show
about
you.
there's. Oh, okay. So far, anchors would be the only thing that need a little bit of work.
So it's this one right here, Nick.
Okay.
So they have it like in their title. Um, I think the title is the only place they even have that keyword. And I don't even like their photos as much. That's the real kicker. What's on their blog?
Yeah, so I mean, if you look at the main competitor, their anchor profile is definitely more natural looking.
Well, see, the thing is, like, so what do you think about this? So, like, the big competitor, it looks more just like a local site,
Yep.
whereas the one we're auditing is almost
Has like,
working more like an affiliate site.
yeah, it has like 500 more referring domains,
Yeah, it's way more
which,
powerful of a site, but they're kind of like doing this like content marketing approach for these like more general keywords that aren't related to the local keywords, which are their main keywords. I mean, it's in the same niche or whatever, but it's kind of a different ball game, right?
mm-hmm.
What do you think about doing that on sites? You have this local site with like essentially a blog on it targeting non-local stuff.
I mean, it can work so long as it's niche relevant, right? However, if your goal set is especially organic rankings for a local site, then you kind of want to look like the sites that are up there a lot of times. Not to say that if your site's way more powerful, you can't rank in there, but just that for every particular SERP, there is a set of variables that look natural for that particular SERP, right? Now, if I'm looking at this one in comparison, I would say that, yeah, the one that's an MLB is pretty overpowered in consideration to like comparison with this one. But I think one of the main things that would help um, start to get the SERPs that this one's resonating for has to do with the anchors being over optimized and across way more domains than is natural for that particular SERP. But um, also, I feel like when well, no, I mean, really, they're pretty equal in aspects to geographic relevance in their backlink profile to the one that's an MLB too. Now I'm looking at it. So anchor's been still the main thing, and then yeah, what you were talking about as far as being overpowered in comparison can play a factor as well.
You're saying you think they have about the same amount of local links?
Yeah, I mean, this one, I first I thought his competitor was maybe a little bit more niche relevant there, but
No, I'm
I
saying like
don't think so.
location relevant, like getting links from their country.
No, I don't think so. They do have a 301 though that is geographic relevant that I'm sure is helping them out. It's a geographic relevant TLD.
Yeah, I mean, so we got the anchors and just the fact that the site kind of seems like it doesn't really
So
fit in like the others.
another thing too that you've got to take into account is we've got a branded domain here that we're working with. These other people, or at least this main competitor, is a PMD, so partial match domain. In comparison to a purely branded domain that doesn't give niche relevance in the URL.
It has a little, kind of.
You think that one word? I'm
Yeah.
like, I mean, but it can serve the purpose of like, so think about from like a robot
He's up here
perspective,
good.
that last word is blanketed across a lot of different niches. So I don't know. I
He's got a
mean,
bunch of reviews too. He actually has more reviews than any of these other ones I'm seeing on GMB.
oh, nice.
So we're not exactly, we are not local SEO experts. So we could very easily be missing some things here that a person who knows, actually works on local sites often might be able to tell you to do. Um,
Eh.
yeah, we're definitely more, affiliate slash ecom type. But yeah, I just don't really see too much that's glaring here other than, the site just seems different than the other sites, but I wouldn't want to advise them to take down a bunch of content or something. And, the anchors, of course. Um, yeah, it's just hard to draw a conclusion on this one. You still looking at something?
Yeah, I'm trying to look at the SERPs as best I can. So what I'm seeing actually and I mean, unfortunately, we're looking from across the world. I could use iSearch from, but I'm not really sure how accurate that is anymore either. But from where I'm at, said site is not in top three organic, or I mean, sorry, top three map pack, but they are number 2 in organic, beating out their main competitor, which is actually number 10 for me.
Are you searching in incognito?
Uh, Through a different IP on a different browser altogether.
Hmm. You're searching for their main keyword or what?
Yes, the main keyword, which is photography, whatever.
I mean, so their competitors number 2.
Oh, not from where I'm looking. Where this person is at number 2 and the competitor is at number 10 for.
On Google?
Yep.
Just searching the main keyword like I did here?
What do you got? Oh, I removed the first word.
Okay.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. All right. Let me try that one. Yeah. Interesting. So they're flipped for those SERPs, but I'd say they're both good SERPs to have. But if, so maybe, let me look at this. Okay. No. Yeah, still, I'm running into the same issues. Like, nothing is glaring at me. And actually, like, when I look at this, I'm like, even going through the backlink profiles over and over again, like, I'm leaning more towards how much better
Yeah.
this one is than the competitor.
So what I feel like, it's hard to audit through everything this fast on stream. We'd really need to sit down and really dig into stuff, which we're not going to be able to do. But what keeps coming back to my mind is the fact that the site does not really fit in like the others. And that's probably the angle I would really be looking at, is what are you missing as far as what natural local sites get that your site does not have. Because you've kind of gone this other approach of kind of more like an affiliate site, gunning for all these kind of informational keywords. And so I'm guessing all of the other SEO work you've done is kind of fitting that same type of mold rather than what these other sites have done. So I'd be looking at the types of backlinks that these sites have, common backlinks, location relevant backlinks, just anything and everything
So
local is what I'd be looking at. Things you need to do for local optimization.
what Chris is saying definitely holds a lot of weight. And if you take something like Mozbar or Ahrefs, type in your main keyword and go down the line, you're going to find that your site is substantially stronger than
Oh, yeah.
every single site except for one that I'm looking at.
Yes. So like on paper, you should just be absolutely crushing them.
But I wouldn't say his site's that well. No, it's substantially stronger actually, because the main ones popping up are about half the DA of his site.
Mm-hmm.
And then the only one that's double the DA of his site is the only one that kind of fits the same mold as his site. So we've talked about this before. Sometimes you're going to see local SERPs that are specifically targeting these smaller local websites. And then you'll find, one or two of the larger websites existing there as well. Whereas on a lot of other terms, you might notice the opposite, where there's maybe a smaller site that gets in there with the big dogs and you're not really sure why. But it has to do with the way the SERP resonates, or with, the SERP is reading variables that add up to what's natural to show here. Now, this is probably another thing where it's kind of, well, what do I do at this point?
Yeah.
You
So
know?
have you looked at his blog at all?
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
So you're talking about the news, the showcase of like work,
Yeah,
client
so
work, right?
looking at the blog, I'm looking at these articles, a lot of them, like, so for example, this one, like it's part of like the much broader niche, but not well, sorry, maybe not that one. Like
Yeah, I
this
was
one
kind
right
of thinking
here. This
about
one
that
right here.
earlier.
See this one?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah,
this,
that's a national targeting
and yeah,
term.
it's a blog article about, it's just like it's very much broader than his niche is. So he's got a bunch of content. He's essentially done the opposite of niche down.
Mm-hmm.
He's niching backwards.
Out, yeah.
And I wonder if having all of this content that's not as related to his, um,
Geographic
well, to
region.
his exact service, the things he's actually providing, and essentially
Mm.
niching out instead of niching in. I wonder if this is making the other sites more like little sniper sites, and he's just kind of more of this unfocused
Well,
thing.
yeah, something else like worth noting about that that I kind of brought up earlier, but now that I'm looking at it again, I think, we're talking about this, it makes sense. You've got a lot of opportunity here within these kind of what are client profiles of work you've done. It's like a gallery, right? To inject more geographic relevance in some of these titles or in some of these articles from what I'm looking at, and really playing off, where all these things took place, etc. Versus right now, a lot of it has to do with names. And again, just like it's not niche down like Chris was talking about. Not to say that it's hurting you, it's just it's giving a different narrative to Google or to a search engine about what this site is, specifically for, which seems like probably national rankings right now.
I'm just looking at some of his competitors real quick, seeing what their top pages are. Um,
You're just outside of the map pack, though.
yeah.
And actually, in the map pack, number one is very comparable to his in aspects of DA. And number two, about half. Let's see what number one's got in their blog.
So I'm just looking at their top
Similar stuff.
pages, and feel like
Wow, number two's got like no power behind it. Yeah, I'm with you on this one, Chris.
so, like I was saying before, I would just be trying to focus on all the local SEO stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Adding location relevance, because I think we've kind of niched backwards. You kind of niched out in a way, writing a bunch of more kind of generic things about the niche rather than the more focused niche that you're actually in. And
It's funny because
I think you're kind of
yeah,
confusing Google as well with the type of site you are.
yep.
But that's such a hard, like,
It's interesting because it's like you're doing everything right,
if this was
There's
if
like,
this is an affiliate site, yeah, you're like doing good.
yeah, yeah, you'd be doing really well. But now that you're really or well, the focus being geographic relevance and smaller local searches, I would agree it's probably
I wonder what his
a bit
interlinking was
confusing.
like.
It looked fine. I was going through a bunch of those too. Because at first I was kind of thinking maybe that was an issue, but it seems like they're doing things pretty right.
So, do you have any advice for him? Like, where you?
More geographic relevant content.
Mhm.
So articles related to the geographic region that you're promoting.
Yeah.
Um, And then, yeah, if you can get any kind of geographic relevant backlinks. So like, this is very specific, and sometimes it's only things that you can do, but every night, uh, especially back when I was doing a lot more local, part of what I would do would be looking for very hyper relevant blogs in some cities that, maybe don't really have that many blogs even running. And I would try and get as many blog comments on there or backlinks from there as I could, right? When we're talking about backlinking to geographic specific locations, a lot of times things like here in the US, Better Business Bureau can add a little bit of geographic relevance. Directories that are going to give geographic relevance. The type of pillow links that you think about that you think aren't very powerful or worth getting are actually worth getting in aspects to telling Google, well, this is where we reside, this is what we're doing. I don't think, because it probably sounds like what we've said is pretty bleak in aspects to you getting in for your
No.
term, but it's not.
So I've got
You
a
just have to tailor things a bit more to tell Google, hey, we belong in this spot as well.
you can do more of the content posts where, basically when you do a photo shoot in a certain location, you make a blog post with that location name in the URL, and of
Yep.
course do good interlinking back to your other, your main pages from there or whatever. But yeah, adding lots of posts like that where you're just creating these blog posts about specific locations that you want to rank in or just all around your main location or whatever, I think could be really good. And yeah, just focusing on all the local SEO type stuff. Anything you can do to get location relevance, right? Because that seems to be what your site is lacking, or what Google thinks that you don't have enough of. Because you're doing very well for your affiliate stuff, and the site's at all-time highs as far as traffic and well, not all-time highs, but it's
Getting
it's almost
back.
like double from the low that it had last year, it looks like. So yeah, just all the local SEO, location relevance, name of the game is what I would be going for. I don't think I would take content down or anything. It's so hard for me to recommend to take content down. What do you think about that?
No, I wouldn't take content down. I'd just because everything is resonating positively in the
Yeah.
SERPs. It's just an issue of getting that geographic SERP that he's after. So no, I wouldn't take anything down. I'd just keep building, but I'd build more specifically.
Yeah, all the local SEO. Anything you can do to write about locations in your area, photo shoots at different locations, good interlinking with those posts, local backlinks. You can check for the backlinks that maybe your competitors have that you don't have, like little top lists, best photographers in X area or whatever, stuff like that. Just all the local, and
Movies shot in whatever area, like you can add the relevance a whole lot of different ways.
so hopefully that helps. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. Be sure to check the links below for more info on this topic, as well as other cool stuff like SEO case studies, our Facebook community, and our link building services. And like always, please like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Thanks, and happy ranking.